What is up, DTube Steem blockchain? So today I want to talk a little bit about, from a content creator perspective, how I am looking at Hive at the moment. So being involved in Steem since early 2018, I have seen a lot. And if you don't know what Hive is, it's a fork of Steem blockchain. And yeah, so today I want to talk a little bit about the systematic abuse that I see on Hive at the moment. Also, after reading a few posts on the Steam on Hive about this, I see, yeah, currently Hive, I mean, it's a very corrupt system. They have, so being involved as a content creator in Steem since early 2018, I saw how it gradually always got worse for content creators. And Steem was supposed to be for content creators, but it always gets worse. First, they slashed our earnings by 50%. They they did a bunch of these hard forks. They just made the stuff worse all the time. And you could all there was always this kind of drama on the Steem blockchain, and eventually now it has escalated into Hive, where the corruption just goes into overload. So first you have this fork where they removed a bunch of people's coins, and then they had this you had these centralized exchanges like Binance and Huobi that did this criminal act of using their customers' funds to take over the Steem blockchain. And now in Hive, what you have is they are working together with those centralized exchanges again. And so it's like they're working together with the criminals that basically did a hostile Steem takeover over the old chain. So they're basically working with criminals, right? And it's so much worse, right, this time around, because they have this DAO function, or this so-called proposal thing that they're calling it. So what you've realized now is it's kind of hard to milk more rewards from content creators, and they're already taking 50% of it. They're already leeching of the content creators, because the curation rewards are higher than what the content creator is getting. So they're doing this mafia style thing where they're paying off some content creators by giving them like massive rewards, massive Hive rewards, while other people are barely getting anything. And it's super unfair. You see how some content creators are being bribed to earn 30x more than other people, and this is just wrong. Like, it's just wrong. Like, it's not ethical, it's not moral. And what they have done with this the so-called Hive DAO system is they have this like big pile of tokens, and they're basically allowing people to send in so-called proposals of how they can, like, oh, you can send in like, oh, I'm gonna do this thing, oh, give me a bunch of money. But basically what's happening here is they're just using their own friends to pay them off by using this shadow thing called Steem proposal, Steem DAO, where they just keep funneling all that money that they stole, all those coins that they stole from a bunch of accounts on Steem. On the Hive blockchain, they have it in an account called Steem DAO, and what they're doing now is they're funneling out this money to their friends by making them write a post about some so-called proposal about, oh, that we can do this thing. And if you look at Hive as well, you go to the source code, everything says Steem. A lot of the development from real developers, they have basically stolen a lot of that work and just rebranded it into Hive. So they call it like Hive Signer, and I think that was like Steem Connect or whatever. It's like they have like rebranded it a little bit, but they're basically taking the work from a lot of other people. They, for example, took Steam World, just copied the code, and now you are calling it some beam kind of thing. So it's like you see that, yeah, it's hyper corrupt, and I only see that how it's gonna get worse, because you have this situation where the abusers now are so big, the scammers and frauds are so big on Hive. They have so much influence and power because they have majority of tokens. The content creators have barely 10,000 Hive, so they don't have any influence whatsoever in that network, and they never will have it, because it's basically it's not only is it a fork of the 2016 coins, but it's even worse because they removed a bunch of coins now, so it's way more centralized now. And also how they also are working with stolen code from a bunch of other projects, and how they're also working with criminal exchanges that stole their customers' funds, like Binance, like Huobi. And they have made it so these kind of exchanges, they're writing a post on Hive, and then they get like mafia bribed money, like massive amounts of Hive, and it's so mafia style. And it's like, if you have eyes, you can see it. You can see that this is not ethical, this is not right, and you see how many people that have a very high reputation from Steem, they're getting downvoted into oblivion on the Hive blockchain. So hyper corrupt, yeah. And the content creators themselves, they're never really going to get any power in this network, because it's already rigged from the start, since they made this kind of fork. And you have also a bunch of other things, like Hive, there's no liquidity, there's massive manipulation on the price. You can only move maybe like $1,500 of Hive in a day, or you have to send it to a centralized exchange. This is not crypto. Like, this is not crypto at all. Hive has no backbone at all. With Steem, like, the thing that attracted me to Steem was that it was for content creators and developers, like honest developers working together. And it was like, we have a backbone here on Steem. We also have an amazing brand on Steem. But all of this is just gone now. There's no backbone on Hive. The minnows are sort of pushed to have less and less and less power, while they have to shill this nonsense all the time on Twitter and saying, oh, Hive is amazing, Hive is amazing, Hive is amazing. Well, Hive is not amazing. It's horrible. It's corrupt. It's run mafia style, and you don't know who runs things now either, because it's even more kind of centralized. It's more anonymous. So I don't really see how this has a future, because every time it's like Hive is going to be brought up, people are always going to remind people about the corruption with Hive. And if they ever do a public event or something like that, people are going to remind people about how corrupt this system is and how they stole a bunch of coins. And it's just, they used to have horrible reputation. It's the same as with CoinGecko and Cointelegraph and Binance, how they are sort of ruining their reputation in this industry also. It's like, when they're ruining their reputation, it's very, very hard for them eventually to get it back, you know? So the only way to solve this is you need a clean start, okay? You need some form of clean start, or you need some form of new start with the fair distribution to people that should have coins, that have earned coins. Because if you don't have that, it's like, I don't understand how you're ever gonna solve the situation on Hive. Like, you cannot do that, because most content creators barely have 10k Hive, and they are kind of alone there. Even if you pay off some content creators, mafia style, maybe you get a few content creator whales on Hive, but how are they going to be able to empower a bunch of other people? And how are they going to work together with Hive, with that brand, when you have guys like me that is basically going to remind people every day about the real corruption with Hive, and how this so-called Steem DAO with like 80 million Hive, how all of that is just going to be funneled into the people that run that little thing. And also you also have these other things with Hive, how you're never gonna have any new witnesses. You're always gonna have those centralized witnesses. In the old Steem, you still had this kind of understanding that people could become a witness, but now people kind of know that, well, you can kind of not become a witness anymore, because now they're just going to be these guys that lost control over the old Steem chain. And so you can talk a lot about how they lost control over the old Steem chain, but it's like, if you run something for 4 years and it runs horrible, do you deserve a second chance? And should you run things on a new chain? You should not. Like, you haven't earned that respect at all, you know. So it's like, the current witnesses on Hive, they shouldn't even run it, you know, because they haven't earned it at all. And I also saw some lists about these mafia payouts, how much certain Hive key or organized guys, how much they're getting per day. And it's just absurd. They are getting most of the money. It's not the content creators. It's these mafia-styled guys that have these different roles and pretend they're doing something, and they're getting all the Hive. So yeah, and content creators are supposed to kind of shield this, even though they barely own anything on the network. Doesn't make any sense. There's just too much weirdness. There's too much nonsense. There's too much scams, there's too many frauds, there's too much corruption, there is too much mafia activity working with those centralized exchanges that screwed over Steemians in the first place. There's too much stuff going on, you know. There's too much nonsense going on with Hive that you're always going to have this horrible reputation. Not only that, you also have no brand anymore. Like, the Hive compared to Steem brand, it's horrible. Okay, go search Hive on Google. You can't find anything about the Hive blockchain. And also you get it that companies that were called Hive, for example, blockchain companies, they are also kind of getting pissed off at Hive. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about today. Hopefully you enjoyed. Have a great day, DTube and Steem blockchain. Bye bye.